Episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. The Raiders of Las Vegas will soar into Chicago. They're already there. To take on the Bears. Two storied franchises. Raiders sitting at about a minus 3-point favorites, minus 2.5. With an opportunity to extend the win streak from 2 to 3, be 4-3 as favorites on the road. Raiders, that would be awesome to be 4-3. We could potentially be, if the playoffs ended started after this weekend, potentially be in the playoffs as a wild card after this weekend if we win and other things fall our way. But it just doesn't feel that way. It's so weird being 3-3 with a good chance to have a winning record. But with just the way this offense has been playing, it just doesn't. I'm not as happy as I thought I'd be, Soto.
Yeah, look, one of the reasons why I like to dig into other people's games too is to kind of see what the lay of the land is in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Offense across the NFL is down across the board. So it's not just our team that's having an issue scoring a lot of points. There's a lot of teams out there, and good teams out there that are not scoring a lot. Mm-hmm. What I think is happening is there's been a lot of these teams are running the same stuff, right? And then you get the teams that are kind of running different things, like the Niners and the Chiefs and Philadelphia and the Dolphins. Like those teams, the Bills, those are the teams that are doing things a little bit different than everybody else is doing, and they're the ones scoring a lot of points. All the other teams that are doing the same type of stuff, it's not just a Raiders issue having the offense struggle. Offense is struggling, except for a couple of elite teams. Offense is struggling across the league.
I mean, it's points are down across the league, but the Raiders are still at the bottom of the barrel offensively. Like you look at, we were talking about, last night when Derek Carr and the Saints, and Derek Carr's getting eviscerated for a bad game.
It's more than that. It's more than that. He's getting eviscerated for more than that. They
still scored more points against a pretty underrated Jaguars defense than the Raiders have scored all season. So that's the thing, is like, you're right. Like it's down overall, but even like terrible offensive performances like we saw last night, still better than what the Raiders have done all season. So I'm not going to give the Raiders an offensive pass. I'm like, well, everything's down and no one's doing it. It's like, no, something's extra wrong with the Raiders. Jimmy Garoppolo has only played 4.5 games this season, and he still leads the league in interceptions.
No. I'm not giving him a pass at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to put it in perspective here. It's not as dire. I'm trying to put it in the perspective of we're not in as bad a shape as you might think, because we've had a quarterback that has not played well whatsoever, and offense is down across the league. So if it doesn't look great, but we're still, let's say, for example, if we win, we're going to be 4-3 and we're not super pumped. Well, I think we should be a little bit more excited than well, we're just putting a bunch of crappy teams, Well, we still got to go out there and win. So I'm just hoping to see a little bit more juice on offense this week.
I mean, I think the context you're giving actually makes it sound worse, because with as bad as all the other offenses are in football, the Raiders are still 28th in points per game. So even with the average dropping, the Raiders are still awful.
I don't know what you're trying to get at, RJ. I don't know if you're just trying to make this team like just push down the team and make them like worse than they actually are. Like we can be 4-3.
Worse than they are. No, I'm telling you exactly what they are.
They're, I understand what you're saying, RJ, but it's all in how you wanted to look at what's going on here. You can say in one perspective, look, we're struggling really bad offensively. We have terrible quarterback play. We're not scoring a lot of points, but we're still winning games. That's a positive. Yeah, but
it's a great thing.
You're trying to make it look into a negative. But what I'm saying is, with the type of players that we have on the team, we can definitely turn this around with more steady, if not spectacular, but more steady quarterback play.
All things are true. All those things you said are true. And everything I said is true. But you're trying to make it like, oh, you're just being negative. They are 28th in points per game.
I would just like...
It's not negative or positive. That's a fact.
I know. I understand what you're saying, RJ. I would just like it for maybe once this season you take the more positive approach when looking at something.
When our top five spending
again,
offense, when our top five spending
nothing
offense
you're saying is wrong. Nothing you're saying is wrong.
Then I will.
Nothing you're saying is wrong. I understand what you're saying, but I would like to maybe try it.
I've been very positive preseason.
I don't think you have.
I don't have to meet a positivity quota. If the Raiders if the Raiders' offense is shit, I will say it is shit. I'm not going to put lipstick on the pig and say it's great.
Why I said
I've been very optimistic about the defense. The last 2 weeks, the defense has played.
You haven't mentioned the defense not once.
We've been on for 5 minutes.
You've sure said enough bad about the team.
Because the offense is playing like trash.
You don't have to meet a quota. No one's asking you to meet a quota.
You are.
Say
something nice, RJ. Well, we're talking about the offense.
We'll say something
a lot nice to like about it.
No, again, you're trying to pin me into something that I'm not saying. I'm saying to say something nice in general about what's going on here. 4-3 is nothing to shake a stick at. 4-3 with our offense not performing the way it can is okay, because I find it hard to believe with the type of players that we have on offense that we're going to struggle this mightily the entire season. I just don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're hoping, right? I mean, hopefully that's what we're hoping, is that something just isn't clicking, right? If there's something fundamentally like in the foundation of the team wrong, like if it's Josh McDaniels just doesn't have it, if Jimmy G just doesn't have it, if there's something locker room wise that's just like fundamentally wrong, then it's going to be a long season. If it's just something not clicking, which is what we're all hoping for, then that's the reason for optimism. But right now, like the offense is just playing so bad and we're winning because we're playing terrible teams. I'm thinking long term, right? Like, yeah, we're like 3-3, but like it's not like things have turned around and that's why we won. We're just playing awful teams. If we play great against Detroit, if we play great against Kansas City, if we play great against Miami, like if we beat those teams, and it's like, all right, something's working, something's going right here, we're turning a corner. But beating the Bears and Broncos and the worst teams in football, it's like, great, we got the wins. Wins are hard in the NFL. We take them when we can, but it's not like things are turning a corner. We're just playing dog shit.
Well, let's flip that coin around to the other side. How often have we been the better team and lost to these teams? You know, last year we lost to this same Bears team at home. You know, and we were favored by like 6.5 points. Yep. So we're beating those teams now. So I don't know if we should dismiss it this readily, because we're beating teams that we're supposed to beat. Because
the defense is stepping up.
We're beating teams that we're supposed to beat. Great. We weren't doing that in the past. Now we're doing that. So some of the reasons, like what I take a look at a lot is things that people say, things that people use to say negative things to try to find positive things, right? And one of the things is Hunter Renfrow. We're going to talk about him later. But I see tape. He's open all the time. How come he's not getting the ball? And then, is this offense not working? Who is it? Is it the quarterback, or is it the Josh McDaniels offense? Well, if people are getting open in the offense should be working better than it is, right? So that's what I'm thinking is, look, am I super pumped up spoiler alert, am I super pumped up that Brian Hoyer is going to start? I don't think anyone's getting super excited and canceling plans to watch Brian Hoyer, right? Is this
the least watchable game tomorrow?
Oh, I don't know. There's a couple other ones out there.
Dude,
there's who are the Broncos playing? I think that's a pretty bad game too, I think.
Yeah, but at least you have some star power. Like you have Russell Wilson, who's like playing terrible, but he's still a star. You got
Devontae Adams pissed off. You got Maxx Crosby on a tear. I think we have plenty.
You have Brian Hoyer versus Tyson Bagent. And if Bagent goes down, you know who the backup is? Who's number 3?
Who is it? Well, Peterman, right?
Nathan Peterman. We may have some Peterman time.
Whoa.
Oh. I think Nathan Peterman deserves an F-bomb.
Where, John?
I definitely think he deserves an F-bomb.
Let's see. Who are the Broncos playing? I think that's the worst game. Whoever the Broncos are playing is probably the worst game. Let's take a peek, shall we?
Take a gander. I don't know. I think this one's pretty bad. But also, okay, let's get to the quarterback situation. It's being reported that it's
Broncos
not
and Packers. That's a snoozer.
Packers. That's a
freaking snooze fest.
Where, Jar?
I didn't say freaking.
Nope.
Damn.
Yeah, I just tied it too, and now you got back ahead of me. 12 to 11 on the swear jar. Diana Rossini is reporting, and it's been confirmed throughout. Brian Hoyer will be the starting quarterback for the Raiders against the Bears, per source. It's been a long time since Raider Nation has been pretty unanimous about their quarterback. It's pretty unanimous. Everyone wants Aidan O'Connell to start. Like, have you met a single person? There are people that are defending the decision. They're like, well, if Josh McDaniels thinks that Hoyer's the guy, then okay, I get it. But is there a single person Raider Nation that's like, yeah, Brian Hoyer's the way to go? That's what gets me excited.
Honestly, I'll defend it.
Okay.
I'm not saying that I'm super pumped up about it, but I'll defend it. He played about as well as you would want him to play without having any snaps in practice, basically any first team snaps in practice. He moved the ball. He put some points up on the board. He didn't turn the ball over.
I don't think he put any points on the board. We had a 10-point lead, and then we got a safety at the end. The offense,
I think we scored in the second. We had to have scored in the second half. We didn't have 19 points at halftime. I think he might have gotten a field goal.
Field goal? Okay.
Yeah.
Field goal and a safe defense scored.
So look, I don't know that. Kind of very similar to what you were saying about last week's game. I just need, Jimmy Garoppolo to not turn the ball over.
Yeah.
I think the Bears are so bad that that's actually the game plan this week. It's just don't turn the ball over. Don't make it easier for them. And I think right now that Josh McDaniels has more confidence in the steadiness of Brian Hoyer as opposed to the potential higher ceiling of Farva. And I don't know that I necessarily disagree with that, especially considering who we're playing. If it was maybe a team that we were playing maybe if it was the Lions, we needed a little bit more juice. We needed a little bit more punch to the offense. I think maybe that would have been a Farva game. But, I hate to say this because it's such a cop out, or it can be seen as such a cop out. Like, well, we don't see what they're seeing in practice, and we don't see what they're seeing in this and that. But I can see, not necessarily that I agree, but I can see why Brian Hoyer was the pick.
I can. Hoyer's terrible, and we know that you're like, all right, he's consistent. Like, he's consistently awful. Like, he's consistently atrocious.
He wasn't atrocious and awful last week.
He wasn't atrocious last week, but traditionally, right? Not just 2 quarters, but the last several years.
No,
right?
I understand, but this is this team. What we've seen from this team with this players around him, he hasn't looked bad.
Okay. Much bigger sample size. He's looked awful, right? We all know he's 0-12 in his last 12 starts, 7 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, right? So it's not even like he's like, hey, he's just steady, he'll get you whatever. Like, no, he's awful. He was supposed to retire this season until Josh McDaniels begged him to come and hold the clipboard and help the new guys, right? He's really bad. So, sure, is there potential that we don't know? I mean, is there potential that Farva is worse than Brian Hoyer? Maybe, right? We know so little about him, right? He's played 1 full game of football, and it was his very first start, and he got progressively better. Specifically, like you look at his first half and second half, he looked very different, right? So it's possible. It's possible that Aidan O'Connell's worse than Brian Hoyer. But we know for a fact Brian Hoyer is a bottom 5 quarterback. He is atrociously bad. We know that for a fact. Aidan O'Connell, it's like we were DMing each other. It's like he's a scratchy lottery ticket where you've only scratched off 1 thing. You've got 10 more to go. You know what I mean? You're like, what do we have with Aidan O'Connell? On paper, he's probably still going to be a good backup in the NFL. I think that's probably where I think people view him generally, but we just know so little, right? He could be a starter. He could be a good quarterback. He could be absolutely trash. We just don't know enough, but we already know Hoyer is awful. So you're like, you're like, all right, I know, like I'm playing this hand, but I know it's a loser, but I know what it is. It's like, give me what's behind door number 3 as opposed to playing a loser.
Yeah, I'm not going to go as far as to say call him a loser because of who we're playing. This Bears team is not good.
Yeah,
this Bears team is not good whatsoever. Again, if you take a look at the game plan, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't a freaking world beater, right? Yeah. And you're saying, hey, just don't turn the ball over. Just get yourself in the right positions. That's what we're asking Hoyer to do. And I think that if that's the case, I believe that if this is the choice that Josh McDaniels made, he believes that he can get a steady game out of Brian Hoyer, higher percentage than getting a steady game out of Farva. I think Farva has the higher highs, but he also has the potential for lower lows, and we saw that in the first half of his first game.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like the randomness of what we get with AOC is probably, it's just, to me, it's just like odds, right? Like it's just
no. If it was up to me, I would pick Farva.
Yeah.
If it was up to me, I would pick Farva to start for sure, before anyone starts getting crazy. But honestly, I can see why he chose Brian Hoyer, and I'm like pretty okay with it because I don't know that Brian Hoyer is going to have a very long leash. I think that if Brian Hoyer goes out there and he's just like you say, just awful and 3 and outs and not moving the ball and God forbid turning the ball over against a team like that. All right, if I'm going to get turnovers, I'm going to get the juice too. So get in there, Farva.
We could see Brian Hoyer versus Nathan Peterman on a National Football League broadcast in mid-October 2023.
God. That's like you think you're seeing a prison fight with a soap inside of a sock, except like it's marshmallows inside of the sock. So they're hitting each other, but it's like, is it really doing a lot of damage?
It's more of a pillow fight.
Yeah.
One of those prison movies that you see on
Skinamax.
On alternatives. You know what I mean? An all women's prison, and the prison guards are trying to cause less unruliness. So let's get into who we're playing. This guy, Tyson Bagent, actually kind of intrigues me. Thank you very much, Craig Carton, for the graphic. Undrafted rookie from Shepherd University. Didn't know that was the name of a university. Didn't know they had a football team. Apparently, they're a Division II squad. Undrafted rookie. He's thrown 159 touchdown passes, though, in Division II football. And the best part is his father, Travis, is a 28-time world champion arm wrestler. I am intrigued by this guy. I am genuinely intrigued. And I think he's got a mullet. He was wearing a hat when I saw him, but I think he's a mullet guy.
Yeah, man. Cool. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed by his performance.
He has to be a 29-time world championship arm wrestler for you to be impressed?
His dad?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not worried about arm wrestlers.
What's it like growing up when your dad is the best arm wrestler of all time? Is his dad disappointed he's in the NFL and not following in his footsteps? It's like, oh, you're just starting as an NFL quarterback? You're not a real athlete like your pops.
Not real, man.
Championships. We
wrist wrestle around here.
I'll show you a real man. You're using your arm to throw footballs? Pff, what a Nancy. You're using it to crush other arms.
I was at a Fit Expo where I had some fighters fighting, and there was this dude that had this weird disease or deformity where his right forearm and right hand were just ginormous. It's like he's tailor-made for freaking arm wrestling. Everything else in his body, except I think it was his right side. So his right leg, his right foot was big, his right arm was really massive, just cartoonishly big.
Only does righty, doesn't arm wrestle left.
No, it just gets in there and the hand is the other guy's hand is it is a big old hand
That's one of the guys that churches would use to be like, if you masturbate, your hand is going to grow 3 times too big. See that guy? That guy jerked off too much.
Listen, bro, we got to learn how to jerk off with both hands so we get 2 big hands.
Even. All right, what do I want to start with here? Tyson Bagent versus our defense. The Raiders did the last 2 games. 4 interceptions, 43.8 rating, 6.1 yards per attempt, 0 passing touchdowns allowed. And the Bears have been sacked 25 times. That's 30th in the NFL, right? We should be eating this kid's lunch. And I can't remember the last time I've said that about our defense going into a game where the Raiders defense should eat this kid alive.
We just have to make sure that we just stay sound and play sound fundamental football. Because if I know anything,
so did you need?
I didn't I didn't take a look at that.
I
didn't take a look at that.
Was he wearing short enough shorts?
No. He was wearing jeans and his cup overfloweth. So I don't know. I don't think that they're going to go out there because their defense is bad. Their defense is worse than their offense.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to go out there and be like, let's just be, really just conservative offensively because they know they can't stop anybody. I think they're going to go out there and be like, let's just go. We got a guy in college that was used to throwing the ball. Let's just go out there and throw the ball. They got a couple of playmakers out on the outside. Okay, let's just throw the ball. They got Mooney, they got Moore. Those are guys that can make some plays. They've made plays in the league. So DJ Moore is a legit guy. He's a legit receiver. He's putting up numbers with Justin Fields. So This dude, they're going to throw him screens. They're going to get him the ball all the time. Every which way you can get DJ Moore the ball, they're going to get him the ball. And
it'll be quick like that, right? Because the pass defense is the pass protection is so bad. It'll be quick.
Yeah, you throw DJ Moore 5 screens. He just all one needs to pop. That's it. Yeah. One needs to pop and they score, and he has the ability to do that. So I don't see that they're going to be super conservative. I think they're going to wing. I think they're going to run the regular offense without the running aspect of it with the Justin Fields, and they're just going to see where it goes from there. What's up, buddy?
Aw, what's he complaining about this time?
I think he sees another cat outside. Chill, bro. I'm on air.
Oh, I want to get some. All that right testicle talk got them all hot and bothered. So with Justin Fields out and Johnson, their starting running back out. I mean, we load up the box, right? Cover 2 type thing, right? Like it's going to be quick passes, right? They're not going to put this guy in like 5-step drops. It's just not. With Maxx Crosby out there playing so well, defense finally starting to show up. It's going to be 3-step drops, like you mentioned, little screen passes. I mean, the defense seems like pretty simple approach, right? Like you double up DJ Moore. He's the only real deep threat you have to worry about. And you make life miserable for the son of the arm wrestler.
Yeah, you just got to pressure him. We got. That's the big thing is we have to make sure we get pressure on him and move him off the spot. Don't leave him comfortable. I think if we do that, he's going to give us a couple of treats, and
tasty treats.
We just gotta limit the big play. If we force them to inch the ball down the field, the percentage of probability that Bagent makes a mistake and turns the ball over is pretty high heading into his first start, especially with the lack of weapons and protection around him. So we just got to make sure that we stay aggressive up front, and in the back end, we just keep our assignments, keep assignment discipline, and I think we'll be fine. We can't have any brain farts, diving on play action and getting beat over the top, because that's the only chance they have is if they rip off. They're not capable enough offensively as a team to be able to consistently move the ball down the field. Yeah. They have to get big plays. They have to get chunk plays, and they either get it by going over the top or by hitting the screen and making a guy miss because he's out of position. And that's the only chance they have of putting up a bunch of points.
On the other side of the ball, our offense, it'll be led by Brian Hoyer as of now.
Oh, yeah.
And the big story this week, and it made national news. It was on like the regular, it was on the shows, it was on the national talk shows and stuff like that. Devontae Adams' comments. In case you missed it, here's what he had to say.
Progress, obviously, I'm going to continue to work through it. I'm a human being, and I have extremely high standards for myself and this offense. So to me, it's not just about, I'm sure people thinking like, they won the game, they won the Packers game, why is there an issue? You see why it's an issue. Y'all should know who I am, know where I'm about at this point. So it's not about, when you're a player like me mentally, my benchmark is not wins and losses. It's great. So when I go out there, I expect to be able to have that ability to put that on tape and have an influence on the game. And that's, like I say every week, that's my purpose for being here. I'm not here just to hang out. And, like I said, I'm here to hang out with Derek and all of that stuff from last year. I came here to win and to do it the right way. So if it don't look like it's supposed to look, then I'm gonna be frustrated if I'm not a part of that plan, because I have the opportunity to go and to change that and make it look like a much better picture out there. If that doesn't happen, then I'll be frustrated. If Jacoby goes out and have a
So this made the rounds all week because this was after a win. This was after a 2-game win streak, and still he's venting this frustration this week. I get where he's coming from because the offense still isn't clicking. That's about as vicious as Davante gets publicly. So that's why I ask you, over or under 15 targets for Davante Adams on Sunday?
It's a lot of targets, man.
They are going to force feed him that ball after those comments, and specifically with how bad the defense that they're playing is. They are going to en masse. If there was 2 footballs, they'd throw 2 footballs at Davante Adams to play if they can this on Sunday.
All right, so hear me out here. I understand that we want to get him the ball, but I don't know that coincides with the whole just don't make a mistake game plan.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I'm hesitant to say the over, because 15 is a lot of targets, man. It's a lot of targets. So
that's why I picked it, because it's a lot, and it's going to be part of the game plan, but it's a big number.
I think we're going to go under that, only because it doesn't coincide with don't make mistakes, make the right read, make the safe read. Yeah. I don't know that coincides with that. If it was Garoppolo playing, I think he would have gotten more targets, because I think he has got a little bit more leeway. I think Favre can kind of just be like, hey, you know what? I'm young and dumb. I'm going to feed my freaking superstar, like he did in the fourth quarter of the Charger game. He was throwing to Davante, even though he was double covered. He was still throwing him the ball. Yeah. But I think for Hoyer knows his role, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to go out there and make the safe play. I think he's going to get quite a few targets. I can definitely see 10 to 12 targets to be something, but 15 is a lot.
It is a lot. I think it'll be 15. I think it'll be like 15, 16. I'll go over, only because I also know, like, Josh McDaniels, like, he's feeling the like fire Josh McDaniels stuff, right? And when you're superstar wide receiver, if he starts, like, because we don't know what he's saying behind closed doors, right? We don't know if maybe Davante's like, I want Hoyer to be the quarterback, and that's why they went this way. Like, who knows, right? But I know if he's saying that publicly, he's saying 10 times more privately, right? It's like the tip of an iceberg, right? Davante's not a guy to like vent for no reason, right? Like, if he's saying that out publicly, what he's saying privately is probably pretty big. And I don't think Josh McDaniels can afford to like lose Davante Adams. Have Davante like not buy in and be checked out.
Yeah. So look, Oakland fan made a good point, and I was about to talk about that. There's nobody on the staff that's like a Belichick defensive guru on this Bears staff. Yeah. And they definitely don't have the secondary. Even though the Patriots secondary was depleted, this secondary is young and unproven, and they're a little wild, and they're a little grabby, and the eye discipline is a little shaky. So you can definitely score points on these guys. I mean, look at how many points Russell and the Broncos put up against these guys. They came all the way back to beat them.
How many jock straps is Davante going to be responsible? That should be the over-under. How many jock straps will Davante Adams, with just his move, rip off of the Bears DBs?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of double moves. He's going to be
He's going to show some sick up, like, he's going to invent a new Texas two-step on Sunday.
That's why I say he's going to be around 10 to 12 targets, because even though they're, Hoyer's told to make the safe read, he's going to be able to get open against these guys. It's not going to be that hard for him, regardless of how they play him, because you have an emerging target. And I think Michael Mayer is going to have a big game on Sunday. Mm-hmm. I think that they just scratched the surface. That Belichick, there's a couple things that Belichick will not let you do. He will not let your best player beat you, and he certainly won't let a tight end beat him. Yeah. And I don't know that they have the personnel there in Chicago to take away Davante and not let Mayer get open. I think Mayer still have a lot to show, and his ceiling is much higher than what we've seen. I have very high hopes for him. I had high hopes for him when we drafted him, because I've seen him play. I saw him play 3 times against USC while he was at Notre Dame, and he balled out every single time. Mm-hmm. So I do see a lot more in him than the flashes we've been seeing.
And their run defense is actually decent. The Bears' run defense is actually top 10, so it's good. So
top 10 in average or in total yards a game? because people
per game. They're only giving up 89.5 yards per game.
Teams don't run against them; they just throw against them because the secondary is awful.
Secondary is awful, right? So we keep wondering, when's the Josh Jacobs breakout game going to be? When is the get right Josh?
It
Jacobs
could be this one
coming?
for sure. Oh yeah,
I don't think it is.
Well, I'm telling you, people don't run against this team because they don't have to.
Yeah,
not because they're that good. Let me take a look. Let me take a look at checking. Take a look at their average yards allowed per rush. That's probably a little bit better stat.
Mm.
Please continue.
Discuss amongst yourselves. A little verklempt. They're going to see some familiar faces, though.
Yeah,
Nick Ngakoue and Andre Billings lined up next to each other. God, I would love for us to just run those two dudes over. I mean, maybe you're onto something. Maybe you just run at Yannick Ngakoue because he doesn't run tackle. He doesn't defend runs. He just goes for sacks. So maybe you just run power right at Yannick Ngakoue every single time.
Every single time, baby.
If they outplay our defensive line, I'm going to be pissed. Yannick and Andrew.
I don't think they will. I think we're gonna have a much more run heavy offense than we might think in this game. I think it's going to be a Jacobs heavy game. That's the smart money. If you got a back like Jacobs and you start running more zone read running plays like we have the last couple of weeks, especially last week, and I just don't think that. I think
JMD will try. I have no doubt that they'll try to get Josh Jacobs going. It's just, I don't know. Of all the teams he hasn't been able to run against, is it the Bears that he finally gets right? I mean, I hope so.
Hopefully, yeah, man.
With those 27 targets that JMD promised Devontae this week, he's going to get Josh that many carries. What else do you want to get into? Just real quick, again on the quarterbacks. Like, imagine if the Bears started Nathan Peterman over Tyson Bagent. That's basically what we're doing, but worse. You know what I mean? Like, Aidan O'Connell has at least flashed, looked amazing in preseason, got better during his one start, and still Josh McDaniels like, I'm going maybe 13 times the charm for Brian Hoyer. He'll finally start a game and win after losing 12 in a row. Imagine that's what the Bears did. There's like, oh yeah, we're going with Nathan Peterman over the unproven rookie.
I don't know that there's a winner in that. And they're both equally as rough. It doesn't instill a lot of hope for the offense to break out of the slump that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I can follow the logic why he would pick Hoyer over Favre. I think from what I'm thinking, Josh McDaniels feels like the percentage of a clean game is higher with Hoyer than it is with Favre.
Yeah.
Which is why he's doing this. Sad, what up, baby? This is my boy.
Cedric, more entertainer.
Cedric, more entertaining.
All right. Well, do you have a prediction? High scoring game, low scoring game?
No, low scoring game. Like 17-9, 17-10, something like that. It's not going to be a high scoring affair.
I picked up Daniel Carlson in my fantasy leagues because I think this is going to be red zone issues, but we'll move the ball.
I have Daniel Carlson. I have Michael. I think Michael Mayer is going to do well. I have Michael Mayer as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Tight end is so trash this year for fantasy. It's like if you either have the one that will remain nameless in Kansas City, and then like everyone else is like Kittle's kind of underperforming, Waller's way underperforming, Schultz moved, and so he's underperforming.
No, what I'm thinking about Mayer is the fact that he wasn't performing because he just wasn't being utilized. He was getting open. It wasn't about his ability to create separation.
Yeah. Well, he just wasn't getting snaps because he couldn't block. He was a liability blocking, so he just wasn't getting snaps.
Yeah, that's two of it, both of them together.
I'll take some questions.
Sure, why not?
Possible trap game.
Never. We're not in
a position to have trap games.
Yeah.
There's not one team that the Raiders can look over. That doesn't exist. Sammy77, why draft him if you're not going to use him, though? That's ridiculous. Well,
if he's not ready, he's not ready, bro.
Well, this is the thing. He wasn't drafted to be a starting quarterback this season. He was drafted to be a backup. Let's start there, right? Like when he, on draft day, on April of this year, with the last pick of the 4th round, the Raiders were like, here's our quarterback of the future, Aidan O'Connell. They're like, okay, here's a guy that we can get, we get some value out of him with that 4th pick. Probably be a backup for us, a guy that can run our system, step in for us when we need to.
Yeah.
Quarterback goes on IR. He can do 4 games for us. And if we're in a playoff hunt, won't lose. I think he was drafted with that purpose. Can he be more or less? We're all hoping he's more. But this idea of like, well, why draft him if you're not going to start him 7 weeks into his NFL career? It's like, I don't follow that.
So look at it from this perspective. What they're saying is, look, this guy has some tools that we've identified that work well with our system. He's accurate. He's quick with the ball. He's smart. Okay, great. We can work with that. We can develop that. How high is the meter on those skills that he does really well? We don't know yet because we haven't seen him. Now, on top of that, how is he going to react to the speed of the NFL game? Although he got better, it wasn't very good. He made quite a few mistakes. We didn't help him out much, but he also made some mistakes on his own. So I don't know that Josh McDaniels feels that he's to that point where he's going to have he's confident that he's going to have a mistake-free game. I think that's what he's looking for more than anything, is a mistake-free game. That's why I think if Hoyer turns the ball over, it's going to be a short leash. Because if you're going to turn the ball over, I might as well have a guy that can give me some juice too.
D. Keegan, Jacobs is the bomb. They need to long passes to get him started. I mean, you got to clean up that box, right? I mean, you got to get those safeties backward. And we saw Hoyer hit, Trey Tucker for like a 50-yarder or whatever, almost a 50-yarder, whatever it was when he played briefly. So he does have a better long ball than Jimmy G. It doesn't say much, but at least that part has now opened up. And I remember we were talking on the main show, I kind of understood why Josh McDaniels wanted to keep it under wraps, like who's starting, Jimmy, Farva, or Hoyer, because you want the defensive coordinator on Sunday to be preparing for all three, right? Waste your time preparing for guys who aren't going to play. I don't know where I was going with that, but I do understand one extra element, right? Like, do we have to prepare for a long ball or not? If it's Jimmy G, we don't have to prepare for it. If it's Hoyer, it's possible, right? It's in the repertoire.
So this is why I think the middle of the field is going to open up a little bit more. The Bears secondary is not good enough to at times single cover Davante Adams. The other teams that we've played, they had a player that at times could cover Davante Adams one-on-one. Maybe not cover him for a long period of time, maybe not cover him like blanket him, but a guy that can be serviceable out there to cover him one-on-one every once in a while. The Bears don't have that at all. So they're gonna have to double, maybe sometimes even float a linebacker in his area. So there's going to be some more open space. You can't just load the box because you're going to put your secondary at a huge disadvantage, especially when they're not very good. If you don't have a very good secondary, you don't want to pull a safety in. It's just not smart. You'd rather someone run for 70 yards than to throw for 70. It's easier to throw for 70 yards. So I think it's going to work out a little bit better for us than what we might think. Again, I think the issue is going to be more so the red zone, like we talked about. Tighter throws, tighter windows. 17, maybe even 20 points to 9 to 10, something like that.
St. Cal Grizzly Raider, bold predictions. Mayer gets his first touchdown. Tyree Wilson gets his first sack.
That'd be nice.
I mean, that'd be great.
Tyree lines up against Leatherwood. Is Leatherwood still? Is he still there?
No.
Neverwood? Is Neverwood still there?
No. That's why when I said like Alex Leatherwood, depending on like how you value it, is the biggest first round bust in Raiders history. And everyone's like, well, about Jamarcus Russell. Jamarcus Russell at least made it a few seasons. No other first rounder, unless it was like an arrest, or something like that, right? Doesn't make it through the first season, and then he didn't make it with the Bears. Like all first rounders get like 3, 4, 5 chances in the NFL. All first rounders. The worst first round, the biggest busts get chances. Alex Leatherwood got none.
Yeah.
The Bears are like, oh, let's try. Whoops, just kidding. The Raiders are like, you got one season. You're done. Like that never happens.
He's with Cleveland now.
Maxx Crosby, over under 2 sacks, 6 tackles, and 2 tackles for a loss.
I think I'd go over.
I just don't think I don't think the Bears are going to have the ball that long. You know what I mean? I think there's going to be a lot of 3 and outs where he doesn't have a chance to like get a lot of snaps and get a lot of stuff going. You know,
he doesn't need a lot of chance, man. He can make stuff happen quick.
Well, it's always a numbers game, right? More snaps you get, the more opportunities you have. Like, I just don't think he's going to be. I don't think anyone's going to have crazy stats because I don't think the defense is going to be on the field during long drives getting stuff. You know what I mean?
Getting
I think there'll be some flash stats. I think we'll get like. I think there'll be a couple. I think there'll be 3 players with sacks. That will be my prediction. 3 different Raiders will have a sack on Sunday.
Well, all right.
And I think we'll win the turnover battle. I think we'll get like.
I hope so. We should.
There 1 or 2. Well,
they have a rookie starting his first game.
We've had 1 game with multiple takeaways. I mean, it's the momentum's there, right? Josh McDaniels and Patrick Graham might actually be right. Where they're like, sacks and turnovers, they come in waves. Like, the only reason we're not getting them right now is not because we're not good at it. It's because they just come in waves. They might be right. If we get dude, no, you're just not good. But if they get if we get like 3 takeaways on Sunday, they're gonna be like, see, it comes in waves. We've always been this good. It just comes in waves.
Okay, hang on 1 second. I want to address this because I think we addressed it earlier. I don't know that he maybe wasn't here.
Ziegler and Josh McDaniels have really messed this team up. We have been lucky lately playing a stretch of bad teams. Once this Bears game is done, we will see what we really are, and I'm afraid it won't be good. Well, we still have a stretch of some bad teams. I mean, we do have the Lions after that, good team, but then we play the 2 New York teams, which are pretty bad. Jets are starting to show some life a little bit. They're 3.
I think they just got outsucked. It wasn't like a gunslinging affair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Keith, too often in the past, we were the better team and we lost to teams we should have beaten. Now we're beating teams that we should beat, and people are still being a little bit, not you specifically, but people are still being negative about that. We're beating the teams we're supposed to beat. That's a step up from where we have been in the past. So does that mean we've turned the corner? We're going to be a playoff contender? Not necessarily, but you do see incremental, improvements in that respect.
It's always swinging, right? We've been saying this for as long as this podcast has been around, right? Those close games, yes, there is something to it being clutch. Yes, there is something about being great, in the pinch, right? Like there's something good about like really good coaching decisions and using your timeouts well when the game's on the line late in games, which Josh McDaniels has not been good at. But there are elements to like being good in close games, but it's much more just randomness. 2 seasons ago, we won all the close games. We made it to the playoffs. All the 1-point games we won. Last season, all the 1-point games we lost.
Overtime,
Yeah, like overtime and close games. Like we won all those. Last season, we lost all of them. This season, we're winning all of them. And it just swings. And that's why point differential is such a great way of Bill Barnwell, who I still think is the best football mind in the media. He's like, his biggest way to go is by point differential, not wins and losses, about how well you're going to do moving forward, because good teams destroy bad teams. And then there's close ones, right? Even good teams lose close games because of the randomness factor. But over time, what's your point differential? That's the best way to tell how you're going to do as the season moves along.
Word up.
D. Keegan, Monday night opened the rest of the NFL's eyes about Maxx. I mean, we've both been saying it forever, right? Like if Maxx was on a decent defense, he'd be up for Defensive Player of the Year every single season. He wouldn't be double, triple teamed every single play. If he had someone on the other side that was decent, DBs that were better on the back end, like people would be talking about him the way they talk about TJ Watt. But because he's on such a bad defense, he's overlooked, and it sucks for him. I feel bad for him.
You know what? The thing is he was on like you said, he was on a game that it wasn't necessarily a highlight game or a national game, but there was only like 3 games going on at that time slot, right?
Yeah.
And against the Patriots, and he played well. So I don't want to say that he hasn't played well in big games, but he hasn't flashed like a game-ending safety.
Yeah.
Flash.
And this is the other part too.
Punctuation mark.
The influencers, like the move, like the Red Zone channel. I remember there was a part when people were a couple seasons ago when NFL ratings were starting to take a little bit of a dive. Not a dive, but like they were on a down tick. Everyone's like, well, it's because everyone's watching on Red Zone. Like everyone's on NFL Red Zone. It's like, no, the NFL Red Zone isn't that big. The difference is all of the us's, media, people, creators, people with podcasts, diehard NFL people, they're watching Red Zone. It's a small group of people, but it's the people that influence a lot of things, right? He doesn't pop on Red Zone as much as other defenders because he's more of a pressures guy, play in, play out, right? Whereas like, I don't know, like the real big game records, like JJ Watt would be like strip, sack, scoop, score, and then not do much for like 7 or 8 plays. Maxx Crosby's the guy that's affecting every single play, but he's not making Red Zone that often. Like you don't make Red Zone if you destroy the defensive tackle in front of you, the running back has to cut back inside and loses a yard. It's not a play that makes Red Zone, but it's what Max does every single play. And so I think that's also part of it. He's not like a big he still does, right? The safeties and big sacks, strip sacks, stuff like that. But he's more of like, I affect every single play positively. And if you watch the game, you see that. If you're just watching Red Zone, you don't see it as much.
You see highlights. I got one here. 50+ media. Not sure if it's been discussed because I joined late. Oops, my bad. But I think it's as simple as Davante Adams' choice was Hoyer. Very well may be the case.
Maybe. And if Davante went to Josh McDaniels and demanded one or the other, I think JMD has no choice. It's like, this is your star. You can't lose him. Like you can't have Davante Adams be disgruntled. He already is. You can't have him get worse.
I think that if you take a step back, I think that Davante Adams maybe feels a little bit more comfortable with Brian Hoyer to be able to say, hey, it doesn't matter on this play. If you see this, throw me the ball. I don't know that you can definitely go up to Farva and say that because he's still very young, and I don't know he's going to be able to get the leeway from the coaching staff to do that. I think that Hoyer has the leeway from the coaching staff to be able to say, hey, Davante said on this to do it, and I saw it and we did it.
I mean, those are all maybes, but the things we know for sure is that when Aidan's in the game, he's feeding Davante, right?
Yeah,
like
the offense does look different when he's in the game. I agree.
That Chargers game, I'm looking it up right now, the box score, how many targets he got, but like he got fed and he was good. Like the definition of a dime was that like 4th and long play in the 4th quarter when he
on the sidelines,
the end zone. Like, dude, that was a dime. Davante Adams was targeted 13 times by Farva. And honestly, like this is, I think what it should be. Like Josh Jacobs was the leading receiver that game because that's what you're supposed to do, right? They weren't covering him. You're a rookie. Just dump it off to your all-star. Like that's the smart play. Just dump it off to him, get your 5 yards. Dump it off to him, get your 5 yards. If you absolutely need the first down, then you go to Davante. Jacobs got 11 targets. Davante Adams had 13. No one else had more than 4 because it's like, I'm going to force this to Davante or check it down to Josh. And I feel like that's a really good, like your first NFL start. Like, oh, what do I go to? Which all-pro guy do I throw the ball to? Right? Like you keep it simple. So I don't know. I would say on the outs, what we know that's concrete, actual play that we've seen, you'd think Davante wants Aidan. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes.
Here's another one here that I want to. I think we touched on it a little bit, but not specifically from this perspective. I don't think it's AP _12X. It's dumb to me to start Hoyer when you have AOC. Like we need to see what we have in the young guy. I don't know that the Raiders are looking at Aidan O'Connell as the starter of the future. If he was like a top pick or whatever, yeah, you would definitely start him because you plan to build around him in the future. I think that we're still looking to win now. We're still if we were 1-5 or 2-4 or something like that, I don't know that we would start, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we still have the ability to to win and keep ourselves in the playoff hunt.
To me, it's still, I know it sounds like a broken record, but it just comes down to like, all right, you don't know what AOC is, but you know what Hoyer is. Like, if you rate quarterbacks like 1 to 10, Hoyer's a 2.
Okay, so you also have the saying that, the devil you know versus the devil you don't, and you know that someone's basement is gonna be here. You don't know what Aidan O'Connell's. We saw what his basement could be in the first half of that game.
Yeah,
and we definitely can't have that and expect to win. So that's why I was saying is let's put Hoyer out there. Let's see what he can do, how he moves the ball. If it's just complete trash, I don't see him having a long leash. I see him be, if he does what I expect him to do, great. If he's more towards his basement, all right, we got to get Farva in there, see what's up.
It's just like, maybe I'm just thinking it too mathematically, because like if Hoyer's a 2, then you're betting that Aidan's a 1, right? You're like betting against.
That's a big if though, because I don't. What if JMD doesn't see him as a 2?
Well, he needs to, because he is. He's 0-12.
There's a lot of different things in there, man. So I don't know that that's necessarily the case.
And I'm also like, are we really trusting Josh McDaniels with quarterbacks now? I mean, he's destroyed multiple quarterbacks. Like Jimmy G's worst season of his career, Derek Carr second worst season of his career, and then you bring in Hoyer, who's the last time Hoyer won a start, it was as a Bear in 2016. Like that's just like, he's so bad. Like he's so awful. It's not like, well, he does this. I don't know. I do get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying, Soto. Like it's not as simple as are you a 1 or a 10. It's are you a 5 or 6 at what I need you to accomplish. I do get that. You that isn't lost on me.
No, I get it. I get that you want, and I want it too. I want to see this offense like climb up a rung or 2 on the ladder of productivity. I get that, and I agree that I think with Aidan O'Connell playing, he can definitely has a higher percentage to getting us higher than where we are now. But like you're saying,
he has spark potential, right? He has spark potential.
He's got pop. He's got juice.
And if the offense was humming, right? If we were scoring 30, 35, 40 points every game, then it's like Hoyer, stay the course. Like who's a guy that can who can be on the bridge of this yacht that's flying, right?
Let me ask you this question. But
it's not.
Who do you think is more capable of having a lower mistake game? Brian Hoyer or Tyson Bagent?
Lower mistake game, Hoyer?
Yeah.
Over Bagent?
Okay.
Hoyer.
Who has better weapons, Hoyer or Bagent?
I don't know. Bagent's got
okay, that's like my exact point.
Yeah.
If you got a guy that is going to make less mistakes than the other quarterback who has better weapons. Mm-hmm. I think that's where we're coming at this situation from.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I just think that
before we go any further, we just got a new member.
Yeah, McBud. So we just started memberships. We made the video. We'll share it with you guys. We'll post it here in a second. I still haven't edited it yet. It's getting in the way of all my fun. But yeah, we have memberships now. McBud, you're the first one, I believe. I think you're the very first member. Welcome as a member of the.
Yeah, we just opened it up a little while ago. So.
No, literally this week we opened it up.
Week,
so I haven't had a chance to check yet, but 3 different tiers. First tier, you get exclusive. You get like your marks. You pop up here. We know who you are. Second tier, I'm really excited about. It's you guys can film a video of yourselves asking a question, talking shit on Soto, saying compliments to me.
We do that anyway.
And we'll play it on our show. Every single time you send one as a member, just an MP4, you email it to us, and we get and we'll play it. So, and then
I'm really excited about the video too, man. Because honestly,
because no one's doing that.
I love when doing lives because I like to interact with you guys. So getting to hear you guys, getting to see you guys, getting to see how animated you guys get.
See your ugly mugs.
Yeah, your ugly mugs for sure. You guys get to see our ugly mugs every single week. So get to see you guys, get to see your freaking man caves, get to see all your swag, all your Raider gear. That's what we want to see. your dogs in Raider gear, your cats, your birds, anything, your monkeys, whatever you got in Raider gear.
You have a pet monkey and you don't send us a video of that. You are banned from these chats. I need to see a pet monkey.
I've met one pet monkey in my life in Florida because, of course, it was in Florida. And that thing was mean as hell. I was like, nope, I'm not getting anywhere near that thing. Like, yeah, he didn't sleep well last night. You know, I'm like, he's like a toddler. Get him away from me. He's a toddler that can kill me. Get him away from me.
So if you want to join, it's down there. I don't know if I'm pointing at the right place, but it says join, 3 different tiers. Come join the party. All right. Anything else, Soto? Before we get out, that was about an hour.
No, I think we're good, man. I think we covered a lot. Look, we should win this game. And we not only are we the more talented team, I think we are playing better, especially defensively.
Better coach team, I think, for the first time.
Oh man, it's rough. I don't know.
Raider Manny,
welcome, buddy.
Second member.
Yeah. Dude, if you guys are in the middle tier, man, send me those videos. I want to see these videos, guys. You guys are like. You guys do great on your live comments and stuff. You guys always keep it humming. I always try to do my best during lives to make sure that you guys are interactive part of the show. I like to really talk to you guys about, interact with you guys on YouTube in the chat section. So I want to see you guys really come up with some good stuff for your videos for sure.
And very big things happening. I know we've been teasing it forever and we haven't done it, but step 1 of building our new studio happened this week.
Yeah.
There's a location. Gear is currently being purchased. I think today the room got painted, I believe. So we're still a little ways out and we got logistics to figure out. So I got to build a set, see how it works. I got to figure out all that technology. But step 1 of the Autumn Windbags studio getting built is happening. And that's thank you to you guys. All the money that we've made on clicks and super chats and now members, we haven't taken a dime out of it. It's all going towards building a cool studio, getting things going, and hopefully giving you guys the show that Raider Nation deserves. So it's giant thank you to you guys for making it possible for us.
So
make the show
I know
better.
We've been talking about it for a long time, and this stuff ain't cheap. And regardless of what you guys might think, we're not like, Scrooge McDuck rolling in all this money. The money that we're getting from this show, from you guys, from your views, from your comments, from you guys spreading the word about us, we're putting it right back into the show to get a cool, kind of like a modern, updated look. Definitely, it's going to be something that you guys are going to like.
Cesar, thank you so much for the super chat. That is one HDMI cable.
We need it every little day, man.
We need
the
many.
castle is built by big stones and small stones. Okay, so nothing is too small, guys, because we're putting it right back into it. I have a couple of. I want to put all my jerseys in like boxes in those frames to hang them up on the wall. I got a couple of signed ones I want to put up in there.
Dude, I have so much cool stuff that just sits around. Keep talking.
Yeah, I got a Howie Long autographed jersey for my birthday, and it is definitely something that I want to put up. The same guy that got him RJ the autographed helmet, I got an autographed Howie Long jersey, and that's
Bojax, this is just sitting. It is just sitting in my office because I don't have like a cool set to have it like be displayed. That's
the flags that we have, I got a ton of jerseys I'm gonna put up.
It's Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, definitely. Like, so we definitely want to swag it out. And you guys, anything that you guys can do, if you guys can go out there and support some, Instagram people, or like you can support Nike, who doesn't give two craps about you. Buy a t-shirt from your boys, because it's not like we're going to put it in our pocket. We're going to put it right back into the show to get a better show, better quality, better sets. You don't have to see my cats running around anymore. That's what we're looking to do.
I feel like we should bring the cats to the set.
They don't travel well, dude. They like their house. That's pretty much it. They don't.
Very homely.
I tried to get them to travel a little bit to Homegirl's house because she's got a cat, or she just got one of the cat's brother from the same litter. And they just they don't travel very well.
That's why I want them to travel. I want them to be disgruntled and just
no, dude. I'm gonna have to deal with that. No. I don't want them pissing in my bed. They're gonna get upset.
I get enough piss in my bed as it is. Thank you. I don't need cats doing it.
I crap the bed on my bets all the time, so I don't need anyone pissing in my bed either.
All right, that'll be it for us. We'll be on right after the game. So it'll be like 1:15, 1:30 or so West Coast time. 10 a.m. window for Bears versus Raiders. We'll be back and we will see what Tyson Bagent is made of. If Unique Ngakoue has decided to do anything other than chase sacks, if Josh Jacobs can get going in the run game, if Devontae Adams gets over or under 15 targets, and see if my claim is true that 3 different Raiders will have sacks on Sunday. Until then, knock on wood if you're with me.